Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Speak Out Loud. I'm so excited today. I'm Lynette Jackson, your host, but this is the first season and the first episode. That's right, of Speak Out Loud, the story behind the brand. Wow. And I am so honored that today's guest is somebody so super special to me. And all I'm going to say to you guys is if you ever wanted to start a business, if you ever wanted to write a book, if you are in business, you don't want to miss this show today because the information and the knowledge that he's going to share with us today, you will pay thousands upon thousands of dollars for. And he's going to talk to us about all kinds of stuff because he doesn't even know the questions I'm going to ask, but he trusts me. He's my coach. Okay, all that and much more. I want you to sit back, relax, and enjoy the conversation as we speak out loud right after this. Well, welcome back, everyone, to Speak Out Loud. This is the story behind the brand, and we're going to learn an amazing story from my business coach today. But before I get started, I want to introduce to some of you. Some of you know me, some of you don't know me. My name is Lynette Jackson, and I am the owner of Roar Media Group. Roar is a digital marketing company that helps you speak out loud in the marketplace with stunning graphics, websites, videos, voiceovers, and strategic plans. We are your church brand strategist. We do that through SWOT analysis and coming in and creating an amazing plan for you. I am also the author of an amazing book. Yep, I said an amazing book called Hollow When Everything That Means Anything is Taken Away. Why do I do what I do and why am I doing this show? I do it because there was a need to provide quality graphics at affordable prices to small businesses and churches and ministries. And so that's who I also do it for. I do it for churches, ministries, small businesses, leaders, pastors, and I do it for you. Today, I am so excited to just share with you a little bit about my business coach. And I'm excited. You know why? Because I kind of met this dude on Clubhouse. I don't know if any of you are familiar with Clubhouse, but about a year or so ago, I kind of stumbled on Clubhouse. A friend of mine, Miss Millie, she said, you should be on Clubhouse. And I was like, I don't know what that is, but I'm going to try it. I went out there and I'm going to tell you the first room I ran up into was this cat's room. Okay. And I'm thinking, who is this guy? What is this all about? So I got into the listening lounge and I began to listen and listen. And at that time, I did not have a coach. Okay. I had been in business since 2017 and I did not have a business coach. And I started listening and listening. And I said, you know what? This guy is for me. This is my guy. This is my guy. This is my coach. And I am so honored today to have him on the first episode of season 1 of Speak Out Loud. But before we introduce him, I want to say a big shout out and a big God bless you to my daughter in love. Miss Shardee Williams. Happy birthday, my sweet love. And I want to say to you, thank you for being such an amazing wife to my son. That's my number one child. And I remember the day you guys walked down the aisle and got married. And I remember the day that I handed you gum, mints, and his allergy medicine in a bag and said, he's your responsibility now. But I appreciate you so much for being an amazing woman of God, an amazing wife, but most definitely an amazing mom to those two special people that call me Coco. G-Ma, that's right. So happy birthday, my love. I love you so very much. And may God continue to bless you. So now all the formality is gone. One last thing. It is the first day of Black History Month. So let us buy Black. Let us support Black. Let us support Black businesses because it is the first. There are so many Black businesses that are starting. And, this doesn't mean that other businesses aren't good, but listen, this is our month. So let's do it. All right. So let's just go to it right now because I'm excited. I am excited to introduce to some and present to others my big brother, my business coach, Mr. Glenn P. Brooks Jr. Sorry, sir, I don't have the clap tracks like you have, well, maybe you have. Do you have it?
Can you hear that? I got my own hype man.
You got your own hype man, coach. This is good. This is good. I am so excited to have you as the first guest on Season 1, Episode 1 of Speak Out Loud, the story behind the brand. And so here's what we're going to do. We're going to chop it up a little bit. I've got some questions that I'm going to ask you today. So get ready. Get ready. I got some questions to ask you, but it's all things that you know and all things that you've taught me. So now I'm going to be not the teacher, but I'm going to bring them back to you. Absolutely. And I know you're going to be good with it. So, and then we'll take some questions and answers. So here's the deal. If you have questions for my coach, because he's my coach now, everybody else in my community or in our cohort will probably say, nah, you can't just have him. But today he's mine, y'all. He's my coach. I want you to ask some questions if you have questions about anything. He's here to answer questions and he's here to help us. So, Coach, you always start off when we're in Clubhouse talking to people about something called the 4 clarity questions. And so one of the things that I do I did beta testing for 2 weeks for this show before I started, and I asked people the 4 clarity questions. So that's all I'm going to start off with is the 4 clarity questions. Interesting enough, people can't answer them. And before I came into Clubhouse and got into your club, and started having, I couldn't answer the 4 clarity questions either. You can see I'm excited. I'm all over the place, but Coach had to teach me how to come in, focus on the one thing, settle it down, and focus on the one thing. So, sir, I'm going to ask you the 4 clarity questions. Who are you? What do you do? Why do you do it? And who do you do it for?
Well, I just want to say great evening, everybody. I'm excited. My name's Glenn P. Brooks Jr. I'm an author. I'm a speaker. I'm a coach. I get the opportunity to add a crazy amount of value to entrepreneurs, business owners, and ministry leaders, particularly who are new to that space, help them to grow, help them to get clarity, gain clarity so that they can execute on their why. I honestly believe that if you are not in touch with your why, the what will matter enough for you to quit. And a lot of people, quite frankly, Lynette, they know what they do. I bake cookies, I fry fish, I do those things, but they don't know why they do it. So I am a relationship development specialist. And the reason why I do that is because, quite frankly, I've been intrigued by human behavior since I was a little boy. And this dates all the way back to my personal relationships with my siblings, with my cousins. And I've always been that guy that's deep involved. Had a lot of friends, always super connected to people. And as I grew older and I began to understand the dynamics of relationships, it began to make clear sense to me that that's what I was supposed to be doing. I was supposed to show up and add value and help enrich their relationships, whether in the personal or the professional development space. And so that's kind of who I am, what I do, why I do it, who I do it for. And we've been doing this work full time now for the last 6.5 years, and I'm super excited.
6.5 years. So you've been in full time as an entrepreneur at six and a
Yep.
half years.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so what did you do before you started your business?
Yeah, so I was in full-time ministry
Mhm.
for about 15 years prior to this particular space. Well, let me say this, back up a little bit. Just prior to becoming an entrepreneur, I worked for Gwinnett County Public Schools. I actually
Shout
was
out to Gwinnett County.
absolutely lived in the ATL for 9 years, where we had planted a church, and things got really, really difficult with the housing boom and all of that sort of stuff back in '07, '08. And I toiled and figured it out and tried to figure it out, but wind up taking a job at Gwinnett County Public Schools, driving a school bus of all things. And
Woo!
that
We're
for
gonna talk
2 years
about that.
prior to me going into full-time entrepreneurship, but it changed my life. I had no
Okay.
idea that I would write a book about that experience, that book has blessed thousands of people's lives, and it was a whole thing. So yeah, that's kind of my path.
It was a whole thing. And so it goes to show that, when you put yourself in a position to allow God to bless you and you be obedient, God can take and make something out of nothing, really. So here you are, a school bus. Not to say that you're not anything, but you're a school bus driver. And here's God making you, giving you information to write a book about that. What's that all about? How did that come about?
Yeah, I honestly, so my wife and I, back in 2011, I wrote my first book, How to Raise a Man, Not a Mama's Boy, and that started a landslide of books that just came out of me through all kinds of
Wow.
personal relationships, experiences that I've lived. And I honestly think that most people have a story to tell. I would say 98.9%
Yes.
people have stories to tell. And depending upon how you grew up, here's one of the things I realized, Lynette, long time ago, is that God does not isolate, and he does not have you in a vacuum. There's a reason why you go through what you go through. And I am
Yes.
a firm believer that it's because somebody else needs to benefit from you getting through. And so
Yes.
that book that I wrote about managing students through relationships, not rules, that was the name of the book that I wrote post driving a school bus, was about my experiences, not only as a school bus driver, but as a youth pastor, all of that stuff tied in. And
Mhm.
I promise you, it's blessed thousands of parents and educators, because it was really written to the educator who has to
Right.
manage other people's children, and
Mhm.
they don't get paid to do that. And it's like, I'm gonna choke these little jokers if somebody will come get me. And that book will keep you off the front page of somebody's newspaper, I promise you.
Absolutely. So, I want to make sure that we cover everything. I definitely have so many things that I want to share with you, but that is so awesome because the number of people who have said probably in their lives that, well, my life is up, or I'm just this, or I'm just that, God has, was able to let you write a book about managing relationships. See, the average person wouldn't see that in driving a school bus. They would just resign at the fact that that's who I am, that's what I got going on. But when you tap in, God can show you flowers and things that you've never seen before. And so we'll also have you talk about how a person can get all of your books because you have more than one. So as I mentioned earlier, I said that I met you in Clubhouse, and when I ran across this room, it was called bootstrapping business and ministry, right? And so I want to ask you about bootstrapping. Why that name? It's a very successful club. You'll have 100, 200 people roll through there at any given time. And so I want you to talk about what happens in that room because it's a good place to be at
Yeah.
7 a.m. Monday through Friday. You got to be serious to
Right.
get up. And when
Right.
I think about Crystal, who's an hour behind us, so it's just
Right.
6 o'clock her time,
Oh,
and
and
she comes,
Jesse Ross as well.
and Jesse Ross, who
Yeah,
comes
yes,
in. So
absolutely.
talk about why the name Bootstrap.
So, bootstrapping, by definition, is the idea of using what you have to get what you need.
Mm-hmm. Ooh,
And to
good.
to quote a famous songwriter, the great the godfather of go-go, God rest his soul, Chuck Brown. Sometimes the truth of the matter is that you don't have what you need to get where you want to be. And if you don't understand, and for me, bootstrapping is not about being broke. Bootstrapping is a mindset that says, I'm going to never go without because I always have something that I can do to get to where I need to be.
Yes.
So when we started the club, actually, and it's kind of funny because that club, I like to say, started way before Clubhouse existed.
Okay.
We did a workshop in Maryland in October of 2019, I believe it was. And when we did that event, it was called Bootstrapping Business and Ministry. It was
Wow.
about going out into the marketplace and try and teach a bunch of entrepreneurs, business owners, and ministry leaders what it looks like to leverage what they have, get out of their head and be able to get it to the marketplace so that they could execute on it, whether that was generating revenue or whether that was making a significant impact, particularly in our nonprofit worlds.
Right.
So when we did that event, what I didn't know is that the following year, a few short months later, COVID would happen and we would be absolutely shut down. And as a result of that, I had nowhere else to take that event. And then comes Clubhouse. Now, what's funny, Clubhouse had been going that time. I didn't know anything about it.
Okay.
And it wasn't until the end of December, it was December 2020, that I went on ahead and took the leap and decided to jump in. December 2021, or I think it was. But at any rate, no, December 2020. I took the leap. I accepted the invitation. Finally, several people had back then. It was an invitation only thing.
Yes.
It was only open to iOS.
iPhone users, right?
It was the whole thing.
It was a whole thing.
Real exclusive. Now it's open to the entire world. You don't even need to invite. But what we did is that we curated an experience that we call Lessons Learned in Business every Monday through Friday. And my whole goal there was to put two kinds of people in one space. Those who were frustrated with building businesses and ministries, and they didn't know how to get out of their own way. They couldn't gain clarity. And then those people who, quite frankly, had already figured it out and they had mastered a couple of things, and it caused them to be able to have a tremendous amount of success. I think that when you put two people like that in a room, magic happens, and the opportunity for people to grow exponentially, because now they have access for the first time to minds that they normally would not get connected to, because quite frankly, it's something that just wasn't in their space. So Clubhouse is sort of a very passive way of allowing that to come in your space. Think of a podcast that's live. I always say it's kind of like live radio, but almost exclusive in the sense that you can create all kinds of rooms and different experiences for people, and you can talk about whatever it is that you want to talk about, and people come and they grow with you.
Absolutely. And so I began to jump into this room and I began to just say, I don't know who this dude is, but I like him. I don't know who he is, what he's doing. I don't know, but I'm going to keep showing up. And then you introduced a cohort called the MMC. So before we go there, I want you to talk about what you have going on. You have MAPS, the MAPS community. And and then the MMC. So talk about MAPS and the MMC.
So Glenn P. Brooks Jr. LLC is a full service personal and professional development company. And we help people on the personal relationship side of the equation in a space. It's an online relationship academy called MAPS, Marriages and Parenting Successfully. It's an acronym. And we started that actually 5 years ago this past Sunday.
Wow.
And it's an online experience where people who are trying to grow their marriages and their parenting skills and the ability to navigate relationships in a healthy and a very growth-oriented kind of a way. They come in, we go through books, not just books we've written. Rarely do we even actually talk about the books that I've written because of so many different training and teaching tools out there to teach you about the components of building relationship. Now, on the professional development side, about 3.5 years ago, we launched a community called the MMC. It stands for the MAPS Masterclass. That's what the MMC stands for. But it's actually a business academy. It's grown. It used to be just an intensive that we did every other week for about 7 weeks. Now it's a 6-month program where we bring entrepreneurs into sort of an incubating kind of an experience where we break that down at its base level and help to grow you from the foundation up, so that when you launch a product or service, quite frankly, you get the outcome that you're looking for. And if you come in the community and you do what we tell you to do, we're exposing you to all kinds of professionals, people who can teach you and train you in areas of branding and marketing and how to build a community. Why is that important? How to leverage social media so that you can get it to work for you and not against you. How to actually write the book, how to market it, promote it, whether it's even if it's a church that's trying to launch programming and different things, how to understand what the marketplace even wants, how to distinguish between your target client and your target audience. All of those are skills that you need to develop if you are going to be successful. And I'll be honest with you, Lynette, I did not recognize the power of community like I have in the last 6 years. And I've always been a community builder and that kind of a guy. But being in this full-time entrepreneur space has really changed everything, because now I understand the power of a tribe, the power of community, what it looks like to really leverage it.
Yes. I came in and I'm going to be just full disclosure. I came in and I joined the MMC and I started, and then life happened. I had some health issues. I had some business issues. I had a whole bunch of stuff going on. And so I always joke and laugh and say I was an MMC dropout. But let me just tell you, I wrote down here, Coach Glenn Brooks / pastor of business, because he is not, I like that name personally. So all my MMC folks, I got MMC people out here, Sean, everybody out here. I am the pastor of business is what I coined for you. And this is the reason why he could have, I paid for my course, right? Because it ain't free. So let me just let you know that it ain't free. It ain't free.com. I paid for it. However, not at all. However, he could have just said, okay, well, you're dropping out. You can't do it. Okay, God bless you. May the Lord be with you.
Right.
And the force too. But no.
All of the
things, right? But you know what? He checked on me. He kept checking on me and kept saying, how are you doing? Are you good? Hey, I haven't seen you. Because I had to step away to pull some things together. He and his beautiful wife, Sherry, Coach Sherry, they both were checking in on me. Hey, what's going on? Hey, Lynette, would you like to come back and start over? Either Q3 or Q4 of last year. And I said, yes, I'm going to do Q4. And so first of all, Coach, I'm not going to cry because I'm a wimpy. I'll bust a tear in a heartbeat.
That makes two of us. We will not be weeping on this interview.
We're not doing it. Don't you do it.
Meme material, especially with inaugural episode. We're not doing
exactly. So, because I feel it welling up. However, I just want to say officially on my podcast, the first season, first episode, I thank you. That's why I said you are the pastor of business, because not only are you a business coach, but you have a pastor's heart, and you didn't let the sheep go running off. You left the 99 to come check on a sister. And I got mad love for you. I appreciate it. And so I'm rocking with the MMC fourth quarter of 2021. And I'm just going to let y'all know that this because we like to say that word,
it's all good.
This podcast came out of the result of me hanging in the MMC community and me understanding the book that I had to read about my one thing. And so, at the end, we're going to tell you about his books, but out on my website, I have books that Coach has referred and recommended me to read. And one of them is They Smell Like Sheep, which is so good. Hallelujah. And The One Thing. So I just want to officially say thanks, Coach, for leaving the 99 and coming to check on a sister,
It's
because
just,
my business is better.
I love
I've
it.
learned so much more about what's going on. And I thought I was okay in my business, but now my business is going to break ceilings this year
Absolutely.
because of the MMC. And if you are interested in what the MMC is and how you can get connected with Coach Glenn P. Brooks Jr., I'm scrolling his website at the bottom. So please connect with this brother, because I'm gonna tell you, yeah, you're not gonna be the same after that. He's gonna challenge you. He is going to, when you get off of a call with him, you be like, I can bite the back off of a chair. I'm so excited. He is so motivating. And so you are the deemed pastor of business. So let's play a little bit of a game. Okay. We've been in this about 25 minutes. So, as in your words, and you have coached me, we've been on coaching sessions, and you'll say, Lynette, you should do this. And what about this? Oh, this is just coming off the dome, right? So, Coach, I'm going to say a couple words to you or some phrases about business. And I want you to come off the dome and tell us, everybody that's listening, what these words mean to you. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let's go. Consistency.
Every day showing up, even when you don't feel like it.
Okay, see, this is gonna be good, y'all. I'm telling you, this is gonna be good. This is gonna be good. If you have a question for this guy, we have some comments out here. People are saying, "Hey, Lynette." Sean says hi. There's another person. It's not showing me your name. It says hello to. This is great. Yes, Team MMC is in the building.
I
Thank
love
you, Team MMC. Okay, here's another one. Adapt.
Make the adjustment. Adaptability is the single most thing that you probably are going to have to hone and become absolutely comfortable with in entrepreneurship.
Ooh, this is it's getting gooder, right? Arlene McCoy says, "What's up?" All right, so
Ellie,
pivot.
pivot, overused word because it's underdone.
Oh, wait. So
Yeah.
so let that breathe. Like that's another one of your things. Let that settle in and breathe. Explain that.
Pivot has become a word that, quite frankly, this pandemic has sort of touted as the coined expression that we use. Here's
Mhm.
the problem: many say it, very few do it.
Ooh.
Pivoting is about a swivel. Think about it, but think of in football, and I love football. I use a lot of football analogies, but there's oftentimes, you'll hear the player say you got to keep your head on a swivel. I want you to
Mhm.
think about if you've ever driven a manual shift vehicle, and
Okay.
there's a neutral piece right there in the H where you go first and then second and then third and the whole bit. That neutral part is the pivot. That's the place of adjustment. That's the place where you have to keep your head on a swivel so that you can be ready to upshift, downshift, or do what needs to be done at a moment's notice. Most people say that word. Very few people are really about that life because they complain too much.
Whoa. Okay. All right. Now, I'm telling you, y'all need to connect with this guy. All right. Here's another one. I like this one. Run the play.
That is simple. My job as a coach is to draw up the game plan. Your job as my client or a teammate is to run the play. It's not to overthink. When you overthink, the challenge is that it will lend to you underperforming. And the reason
Mm.
why is because that overthinking will lead to you sabotaging yourself or talking yourself out of a good idea. There's a reason why you hire me as a coach. There's a reason why you want to work with me. All I'm going to say is trust the process. Trust the fact that you've invested and you spent your hard-earned money, and just run the freaking play. After you run the play, if it doesn't work, then we get to talk and have a conversation. But please, let's not talk about what didn't work, especially when you didn't pull the trigger.
When you didn't pull the trigger. I remember you saying, "Okay, Lynette," we got off of a call one day. You say, "All you got to do is run the play." And I really thought about, I love basketball, I love football, and I thought about, as a coach, the coach is not out there actually running the play. He designs the play, and then he gives you the play on the scoreboard, on the little white dry erase board, and he goes, "Okay, now we're going to run this play," because the bottom line is that we all want to win. We want to win.
That's
And
it.
that's why it's important for you to get a good coach. Okay? Because if you're, as you say, if your coach don't have a coach,
You should fire them.
you should fire them.
Really should.
You should fire them. You need a good coach. So many teams that we've seen, and I'm gonna kind of say Atlanta is one of them.
Go
But
Toes, right?
don't go. Yeah, okay, all right. But we've seen so many, and we always blame the players.
Mhm.
But if the coach hasn't given us a good play, we might need to take a look at that coach and think about firing the coach. Go ahead and. So let me ask you: have you ever fired a coach?
Yes, and I've been fired as a coach. So let's keep it all the way above. Let me say this, Lynette. One of the things that I talk to people about, particularly my ministry-minded people, a lot of us guys really get this thing really, really backwards. The goal of you getting a coach is to figure out where you are not, so that by taking the wisdom that you're getting, the instruction, the how-to, and when you run that play, it causes you to get from where you are to where you want to be. If you have a coaching team that cannot put you in the position to win, you should go and find one that can.
Yes.
The problem is that most people relationally are so connected to the experience or to the person. And it becomes somewhat of a struggle, because now you have gone into some people pleasing, and or quite frankly, you're just not doing what you're supposed to do, and it's something that you just don't even pay attention to, and so you're not productive because you're not doing work. I think that is really, really, really important. For me, if it wasn't for my coach, I do not have a multi-six-figure business. If it wasn't for my coach, I've not sold more than 50,000 books. If it's not for my coaches, I don't have the mindset that it takes to plow through when I want to give up and quit. Because of my coaches, I have a tribe that will ride for me and run through a brick wall because of good coaching.
That's right. That's right. Oh, and don't mess with those MMC folks and the clubhouse folks in the bootstrappers, because we will hunt you down and take you out. Don't mess with our coaches, Cherie and Glenn. All right, so let's move on. I got a couple more for you. Reverse engineering.
Reverse engineering is all about going to the end, figuring out where you want to be, and then backing up and then start. If you think about God, God is probably a quintessential reverse engineer.
Oh, that's good.
He knows the end from the beginning.
My God, my
And I
God.
need y'all to understand that most entrepreneurs have not sat down long enough and sat with their thoughts, sat with their feelings, sat with what it is that they're trying to do, and picture in their mind, what does the end look like, or what would I want it to look like, and what are the things that I need to do in order to be able to get there. So if I want to do a podcast, I have to ask some questions like, well, what is the podcast designed to do? Who is it designed to meet? What need is it going to serve? How will we deploy the podcast? Is it something that I want to do and monetize it? Like all those kinds of things have to go into it, and then you reverse engineer that process by going back and starting. Okay, these are the steps that I need to take in order to be able to achieve that goal.
So you guys can see that this is why you need to be connected. I mean, if you think that you know it all, if you have a business, like I started my business in 2017, and I've been doing it. I've done work that I've worked in this business before even starting the business. And, I didn't know how to figure out some things. I was stuck in some areas. And this is why it's important for you to connect with someone like a Glenn P. Brooks, or a coach, not necessarily just him, but I mean, you would kind of be not
Lynette, listen, let me say this. I tell people all the time, it's important for you to know you so that you understand who you need to work with. I know that I'm not cut out for everybody. I know there are a lot of people who just kind of want to hide, and they really don't want it. They just want to talk about it. Well, you probably don't want to coach with me.
Yes.
I'm going to really make you feel uncomfortable. But if you're the kind of person that like legit needs a person who will love you as a person, care for you as a human being, but also lovingly challenge you, I'll be that guy. And I'm telling you, you got to figure out who you are so that you can show up and work with who you're supposed to work with.
That is so, so true. All right, let's go to another question, another word, systems.
Ooh, without them, you don't have a business. It's just a hobby.
Oh,
sure.
That
for
was
sure.
that it, the day that I listened to Jennifer J in our class that night and talked about systems, like I could run around my apartment that day because she preached a sermon on why systems are important and why you have to have them. If the back end is not right, if the front end can never work. I
Absolutely.
look at it like going to the doctor and you have this beautiful doctor's office and you're in the waiting room, but then when they call your name and you go in the back, there's no doctor, there's no chair,
That
there's
part.
no anything. There's that part right there. Without the systems, you have to work from the systems before you before you even come to a person like me with Roar Media Group. Make sure you
Absolutely.
have some of your systems together, because we're going to help you speak out loud and we're going to beautify all of your things. But if your back end ain't working right, you might want to think about this. Okay,
Absolutely.
collaboration is the next word.
Collaboration. Without it, you can't scale.
Mhm.
Without it, you can't scale. You can grow your business without collaborating, but it's very difficult to scale your business without bringing in minds and people to help you get to where you need to be. I always tell people that the collaboration portion of what it is that you do is the part that takes you from good to great.
Okay, so you all on the backside of my notes right now. So, you are all in my
Sorry.
backside of the notes. But I mean, collaboration. You taught me and all of us in the MMC about collaboration, and then you've also taught us how to vet those people that
Yep.
you are going to go into a collaboration with. And so
Absolutely.
I'm a scuba diver, as you know, and so I always wondered why people say sharks want to eat all the fish and eat up everything. And I swam with sharks, and I'm like, they're not doing that. As a matter of fact, there are a few fish that are swimming right in front of the shark's mouth. Why isn't he eating those guys? And
Hmm.
I found out that those guys were called pilot fish. And pilot fish are partners to the shark, because what they do is they clean the sharks. They clean the gills, they clean the pilot fish can go into a shark's mouth and clean his teeth. And pilot fish have been known, if a shark has been taken out of the water or fished out of the water, have been known to follow up to 4 weeks the boat or the area where the shark was taken. It's like Microsoft and Intel.
Wow.
We all knew about Intel, but have you ever seen Intel? I
Nope.
mean, it's always inside of Microsoft. So the key thing is, with what I see as collaboration is, you might need to be an Intel to your Microsoft, and together we
Yeah.
both, Intel
It'll
probably
help.
made $1 million trillion when Microsoft made all their money.
Absolutely, they did. And one step further, one of the things that and that's why I say it's very difficult to scale without collaborating, because I can promise you that what got you here won't get you there.
Mm,
And so the truth is that you're going to have to identify a component that you need to get to the next level. And more than
mhm.
likely, it's going to come out of a collaborative opportunity.
Okay, so here's another one. We have two more. Two more in essay. I just thought this would be fun because
This
this
is
is
fun.
off the
Yeah,
dome,
I
and
like
you pulling it off the dome, coach, but that's who you are.
all.
Okay, inner work.
Inner work is the thing that starts before you ever decide to pull the trigger on a business.
Mm.
And if you don't do that inner work, when you pull the trigger on the business, it will show up and it will help you identify the work you didn't do.
Wait, so let that breathe. Please repeat that again, sir, because that's a moment that I don't want anybody to miss. I
Yeah.
know people who want the thing, but they don't want to work for the thing.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. Lynette, one of the things that people don't understand is it's one thing to want something because of the way you see it. It's another thing to know that you're supposed to be doing it because of the way you understand it. A lot of
Mm.
people will say, well, I want to be a six-figure entrepreneur or seven-figure. My question is, have you repeatedly generated four figures a month extra revenue that you've never generated outside of your current business model or your 9 to 5. If you're not doing that, you're not building the steps that it takes. And here's what I know about the inner work. Biggie Smalls said it like this: more money, more problems. Here's the problem. The more you build something, the more exposure you get to other things. Here's the challenge. The challenge is those other things are not necessarily friendly towards you or your business model, and it'll shut you down if that inner work hasn't been done. So no, I think the inner work is something that needs to be done before you pull the trigger. And that's one of the things we love about the MMC is we help you to drill deep before you build wide.
Ooh, that is true. Drilling deep before you go wide. And you know what I've learned? It takes, as a scuba diver, it takes time and energy, education to go deep. My deepest dive was 130 feet off the continental shelf in Bimini. And let me tell you something, I had to learn dive tables. I had to understand that the deeper I go, the more risk I had to take for my own safety. You know, I wasn't swimming at 40 feet where folks will kind of get at 40 feet and leave. And that's kind of, they've done a thing. We went 130 feet, but it took skill. It took some work. And there was days that I didn't want to learn that work, but I wanted the gratification and the benefit from it. But once I did, boy, when I went 130 feet off the continental shelf, that was work. We have a couple comments and I just want to interject them and show them right now. Is that let's see, Nija Bailey, right? I hope I'm saying that right.
Naisha. That's not
Naisha. Okay.
MMC. She's
okay.
Out with us in Q1 when we start on Thursday. She
said, "Oh well, congratulations, girl, girl, welcome." You see what we're getting tonight?
Welcome.
Well, you see what we're talking about tonight? Girl, buckle up and get ready. And Arlene is out here and she just says, wow.
Hey, Arlene, it's good to see you. I'm glad that you're getting some value.
She is saying, wow. Okay, so my last word that I'm going to talk about, and then I've got to ask you one more question, and then we're going to start wrapping up. So the question is, the last word is community.
Community, the bread and butter for your existence. The bread and butter for your existence. I don't believe that you can get to any place of significance by yourself. We all need some help. God created us to be not independent, not dependent, not codependent, but interdependent.
That's good.
When we talk community works when it's healthy and when it works in tandem. And I think that if you are a healthy entrepreneur that's really self-aware, you'll figure out a way to build community around the products and services that you build so that you can have sustainability. That's the only place that comes from.
Yeah, you know, it's also, to me, it's protection as well.
Facts.
It is such protection, because when I'm in a good community, when I'm beginning to get weak, somebody there is saying, oh, no, not on my watch, sis, you're not going down, just like you and your wife did. But when I need something, the team is there. You know, I can ask a question. I can say, hit Chris in the back channel and ask him a question, and he's there because we are showing up every day and we are in a community. We are family. I look at my MMC family and our Clubhouse family on every morning as a family. You know, we got pastor of business. You know, we got Chris, who, if you want to know anything about technology, that's your dude. Absolutely. You know, you got Rocky, all things social media. She's the goddess of social media. Sure. Christine does such awesome things with women and mothers in her mompreneur class. And my girl, Raj Jones, that's the auntie.
Head of security.
She is head of security. And then when you look back and you see Jen and Gardy and Jesse, you know, they keep it. Madam Secretary, Crystal. You see, we got names for everybody, right? But can I just tell you, this is most definitely a family, and you won't regret connecting with us every single morning. So community is really important. Okay, Coach. So here we're gonna slip over to something a little bit different. You do something called the DISC assessment.
Yeah.
Why Why is that is so important that you do a disc assessment on people before you start working with them?
Well, first of all, it goes back to my why. So, as a personality, as a relationship development specialist, I have been developing relationships all my life. I didn't become a specialist in it until I began educating myself on how human beings function, why they behave the way they do. And so, for the last 20 years, I've been intrigued by the subject of personality and how
Mm,
human beings behave. And so, the DISC personality assessment does just that. There are myriad, many of them out there. You've got Myers Briggs, and you got
mhm.
Strength Finders. You've got a whole bunch of different tools like that that can help to determine how people move. But what I love about the DISC assessment is that it's really clear, it's simple to use, it's really easy to understand, especially when we overlay it with what we call the four animals. The D is a lion, the I is a flamingo, the S is a chameleon, and the C is a turtle. And when you think about those animals, it describes the nature and the habits behaviorally on how those animals move. And then you get a little deeper with it because you're talking about how they move in their natural or how do they move in their adaptive. And I have to know that about people before I work with them. You
Mm,
have to know that before you work with me, because I promise you, it informs how you communicate. It informs how you move with your client base, your customer base. If you're a pastor, I promise you, having a DISC assessment helps you to lead your congregation better because you
yes.
know exactly the type of temperament you need to put as the head usher versus as the person who's taking the money. Like their temperaments are very different, and there's a reason why you don't want to mix and match them, because I promise you, if you do, you're gonna have some problems. Y'all gonna be laughing in the counting room. Ain't nothing gonna get counted because you got flamingos over top the money. And then look, the head usher is a straight lion, so nobody wants to come back to church because they get their head bit off. You know what I'm saying? You got your turtles out there leading worship, and so the problem with that is going to be is that they're going to sing the same song until they get it right, because turtles are absolute perfectionists. They're analytical, and then you got the chameleon. That is the one that, quite frankly, is the quintessential team builder. Those are the teammates that you really want. The problem is you got them out on the parking lot by themselves. Not a good use for a chameleon, I promise you. So these
Oh,
that you need to know, and I love the opportunity I get not only to teach and train people in our community, but I do this for major corporations and go in and help them with their teams and the whole 9 yards.
I love that. You got the flamingos in there counting the money. Ain't nothing getting done.
That's not a good
Cause,
place.
Cause it's a
They
party
got the
for us.
music. They make the music is cranked up. Child, oh my God! Look. They oohing and on over how much folk gave. Child, did you see that? So and so gave $1,000.
Did you
Lord,
see that
jeez.
check?
Right?
And ain't nobody counting.
Ain't
And
nobody
then
counting
and
nothing.
then I'm gonna tell you, I do a lot of shopping of churches. I'll come out and I'll shop churches. And one of the things when I say by shopping them, I'll go out as a visitor into your church, and I'll come in through the whole visitor program. And I'll usually tell the pastors, "Hey, don't tell them that I'm coming. I just want to understand." Well, do you know the number of lions that I have met as greeters and ushers?
I'm sure.
You can't sit there,
I'm gonna need you to sit
move. I'm
down.
gonna need you to give me the gum.
They
you
all
know,
crunched up.
they so crunching.
Child,
Oh my
so
goodness.
don't
No,
get
that
started.
is so good. And you as a chameleon, I'm a chameleon, of course, but you as a chameleon, you always say don't threaten you with a good time.
Yeah, that's actually the flamingo temperament is the
Yeah.
social butterfly. So no, you cannot threaten a flamingo with a good time. I promise you, the party is not far off. That's why I don't have a lot of flamingo friends, because I can't get nothing done. Most of my friends are chameleons in the sense that they love people. They're just much more introverted and a little bit more subdued. You can't take but so many flamingos in one room at the same. We're the ones that get labeled. Oh, they just too much. Why
They
they got
just too
so
much. Why are you so loud?
why they gotta be so loud, like first thing in the morning for real? Arlene McCrae is asking the question, what's the meaning of MMC? It stands
Yes,
for
yes,
Maps
yes.
Masterclass. Arlene, when we first started out, we were building a relationship academy called MAPS, Marriages and Parenting Successfully. A bunch of my pastor friends, people who were in the social workspace, counselors, people like that, they were watching me level up our business online in a way that was really intriguing to them. And they were like pulling my coattail saying, look, bro, how do you do that? Like, can you teach me how to build a business in that kind of a space? And so it was the precipice that launched, I think, quite frankly, everything that we do in the MMC came out of how we structured the MAPS Relationship Academy. So we put that first M sort of to pay homage to that. And but it's an intensive, it's a place for entrepreneurs to come in and be incubated and get to where they need to be and stay there, as opposed to coming back and forth, and you get out and then you come back in because you didn't build right. So no, that's what we
build right. Yes, yes, yes. So Arlene says drilling deep before you go wide. She loved that. She loved that.
100%.
We have another comment here. Community, the bread and butter of your existence. If you're healthy, you'll figure out a way to build community for sustainability. Wow, wow, wow,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah.
Okay, that is so true. That is so true. So if you guys have any questions, this is a great time to start putting them in the chat so that we can have a quick ask coach moment. But coach, as we're beginning to wind down, give us the difference between good and great. That was one of my questions. Yes, talk about that philosophy.
So the terminology, many may remember the book called From Good to Great, written by Jim Collins, great leader, great author. The book, the premise of it talks about, most people can show up long enough to become good, but only few people become great. When you look at the greats, we were talking about sports earlier. When you look at the superstars of any league, there's a reason why they are great. They get paid the biggest contracts. They get the best opportunities because they have learned how to be highly functional in their place of strength. They've drilled down and they've become absolutely the master of their craft in their strength zone, and then they work on becoming better than everybody else at it. But the other part of it is that they understand the work ethic that it takes to do what needs to be done. And so when we talk about going from good to great, I don't want a good business. I want a great business. And in order for me to have a great business, I have to focus. And I have to do inner work on what that looks like, because as we talked about earlier, I am a flamingo, 99% in my natural, 95% in my I should not be able to focus ever. To write 7 books, that's not normal, right? Why is it? It's because I've learned how to master the other temperaments and thus go from good to great. So yeah, that's kind of the premise for it for me. And I just think it's possible to be great. You just got to be willing to do the work.
I really, really love that. And so as we're beginning to close up, sir, you in our business and what we're doing on Clubhouse and bootstrapping, it's talked about lessons learned.
Yep.
So I want you to speak to anybody that is looking to start a business, that is stuck in their business, that's confused, that wants to give up and cave in and quit. Give them one lesson learned around starting and maintaining a business so that they can become and go from good to great.
Biggest lesson that I've learned in that arena, Lynette, is listen to me, entrepreneurs. The most valuable thing you can do is hitch your wagon to another person's wagon who's going where you want to be.
That's so good.
And the reason why is because most of us spend all of our time trying to figure it out. Here's what I know. Solomon said it this way: there's nothing new under the sun.
Nothing new.
And so the truth of the matter is, if I hitch my wagon to the person who has figured it out, now I'm learning exponentially, because all I'm doing is what the blueprint was laid out. And here's what I love about blueprints. They're designed to change them. And so you can take them and make them yours. You just need to know the framework of how this thing works. When I hitched my wagon to a person who was going in the direction that I wanted to go, and it wasn't an accident that I ended up in the same place.
Right.
I just want to encourage you with that.
That is so good. If you haven't seen the King Richard movie, this is going to be a spoiler alert for you, but it was so brilliant. Yeah, did you see it?
I've
Did you?
seen it. Yes.
Okay, good. Okay. All right, good. Because
No spoiler alert for me.
no spoiler. One of the things that Venus and Serena's dad kept saying was it wasn't in the plan.
Mm.
It just wasn't in the plan. And so that therefore he had a plan designed and outlined for his girls to do what they needed to do. And so, you got to get a plan, you got to stick to it. You got to get connected to someone else that's already done it. They've already worked the plan out. All
Yep.
you got to do is run the play.
That's it.
Run the play. Arlene McCoy, she wants to know, how can I find out what animal personality fits me? She needs to take a disc assessment.
So what I did, Arlene, is I put in the chat. If you go to my website, and this is on Facebook, go to my website and you scroll down, look for Welcome to the Jungle. Disc personality assessment. You'll see all the animals, and there's a link that if you just click it, you'll be able to sign up to take the assessment. And the most important thing is that it's a 22-page document. And not only do you sign up to take the assessment, but you also will sign up to also do a 30-minute debrief with me where I'm going to break that down to you before you get your results. So once you take the assessment, you're not going to get your results right away. You got to come talk to a brother. So I can break this down for you. And I'm going to give you not only your results, but the whole 22-page document so that you can take it and go be great.
So he can read you, because you read me that day. I was like,
listen,
oh, this dude just how you know me? Just because I filled out that paper and you read me.
Don't lie. They don't lie.
Don't lie. She has another question. A comment. She says, "You two are so needed. Thank you for sharing your experience and expertise. I am sitting here saying, ouch, ouch."
My pleasure.
Thank you so much. Coach, I love you so much. I appreciate you. I thank God for you. And you have been given an ordained. So put your head down for a little second like this. I'm giving you you have been given the name Pastor of Business. I knight you. Pastor of Business.
Touch the screen and agree.
Touch the screen and agree, everybody, for Glenn P. Brooks Jr., Pastor of Business. He will leave the 99 and come look for the one. Coach, thank you so much for just blessing me. I'm so honored to be a part of your cohort, and I'm so honored to be a part of the MMC, and I'm so honored to be hanging out in the jungle with everybody at 7 o'clock every morning at 7 a.m.
Join us on Clubhouse, y'all.
Come join us on Clubhouse at 7 a.m. Again, Coach, I can't say thank you enough. I thank God for you.
It's my pleasure. I'm so proud of you. And let me say this in closing, and I got to run because the couples community for our MAPS Relationship Academy starts in 4 minutes.
Okay.
I'm going to jump off this and then go to that. But Lynette, I want to say how proud of you I am, because you are an example of what it looks like to start and falter and not come up for air for a minute because you were hurting, and then decided to hang in there and come up for air in a community where you could get what you needed. And then here's what was amazing. You actually put in place everything that we taught you. This podcast is a result of your work. Yes. The how it looks, how it sounds, the names, the all the graphics, all of these kinds of things was as a result of you sitting in a place long enough to be incubated so that you can launch out. And so I'm going to speak blessings over this podcast. My prayer is that it would reach and teach and talk to every person that it was designed to go to, and that I promise you, the transformation that will take place in people's lives, some of them you won't know until you get to heaven. There'll be somebody will tap you on your shoulder and will say, you know what, you don't know me, but that Speak Out Loud podcast changed my life one day. And I just want to thank you for your obedience. So no, I appreciate you, girl. Always a pleasure. You make me proud.
Okay, don't make me cry, sir. God bless you, Coach. And thank you so much. And I'll see you in Clubhouse.
In the morning.
For We All Need Some Help.
We all need
the
some
podcast. Help. Listen, Coach has a podcast.
Yep.
Most definitely check his website out. He's got books. He's written 7 books.
Yep.
So, I mean, if you need some of this wisdom, go out there and grab it. Coach, thank you so much for gracing us on the podcast. God bless you. Thank you.
Be good. Y'all be good. Thank you so much.
Wow, everyone. I mean, oh, I cannot. Hey, I've got a comment out here from my girl, Annette Cloud. Annette, you said so true. Lynette is a soldier. What's going on, Annette? I hope you are doing well, my sister. I love you. You know, she and I go back way back from up top because we're down here in the South now, but we definitely came from the North. Awesome, Arlene. Yes, the conversation. Yes, you know what? Continue to share and like. Again, this was episode 1 of season 1, episode 1 of Speak Out Loud, the podcast, the story behind the brand. I am so excited that my business coach has, graced me for the very first episode. And I would ask that you guys to share this. We also have a community, a Facebook community that's called Speak Out Loud. So you may have received an invitation from me. I'd love for you to be a part of that. You know, we want to hear from you. We want to hear about topics that you want to talk about. We want you on this podcast because if you are an entrepreneur, a business leader, a ministry leader, if you're an author, we want to hear the story behind the brand. Again, I just want to thank you so much, everyone, for taking time out of your schedule to tune in and listen to Speak Out Loud, the story behind the brand. My name is Lynette Jackson, and I just want to say that God loves you. I love you, but most importantly, learn to love yourself. Bye for now.